And then things took a turn. You know what I'm saying? On April 4th, 2019, I was arrested for cannabis and served 14 days in a Chinese penitentiary. I was locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 people one night, 15 people in one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 meals a day, some form of soup every meal. And all I had was a Tupperware bowl and a plastic spoon.
Yeah. I lay on the scale, you gotta glow, you gotta glow. She had my attention, she gotta know.
I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of the Let's Gather podcast. I'm your host Zeke, and in this episode I have Chancellor Jackson to speak on his book, 14 Days in Beijing. You can find more information about him and his book by clicking the link in the description below. I'd like to give a content warning for any strong language used in this episode. I hope you have a nice day and enjoy the show. Welcome to the podcast. Nice to have you.
Hey, how you doing? Appreciate you for having me. For sure.
Welcome anytime. So I'd like to let you introduce yourself to the audience, and then we can get started.
For sure. The name is Chancellor K. Jackson. Chancellor K. Jackson. From Atlanta, Georgia, in America, depending on where you may be listening from. Real down to earth, humble, very laid back, chill, nurturing, motivating, and encouraging. You know what I'm saying? Just a great spirit, all in all. You know what I'm saying? Brought up pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Single parent for the most part. My mama raised my brother and I, but she did a hell of a job. And I played football for a good portion of my life. I didn't start playing until 8th grade, so about 13 years old, but played from middle school to all throughout high school and was able to play at the collegiate level for 4 years as well. I got my bachelor's degree in communications. I got my bachelor's degree in communication and media studies from Stetson University down in Florida. After I graduated from college, I've been applying for jobs ever since the football season ended in November 2017, but still haven't landed anything per se up until this point. So I was just at a crossroad, like, you know what I'm saying, for the dilemma of figuring out who I am now that football is no longer in the picture and what's next for me, you know what I'm saying, and trying to find something. So I continue to, you know what I'm saying, I knew if I quit, I'd never be shit. So that wasn't an option. So I continued the job search and found the opportunity to teach abroad in China, teach English abroad in China. Applied, finally landed a job that I actually wanted to do. So that's how that story played out. So I entered China on October 10th, 2018. And I was out there for 6 months total. And it was, all in all, the best experience I've ever had in my life. I've traveled abroad before, but being able to live abroad as an adult was a whole new, you know what I'm saying, a whole new ordeal, you know what I'm saying, especially moving from Atlanta to Florida to go to college. That was like a baby step, essentially. And then from America to eastern side of the world, you know what I'm saying, it's a different world, literally, you know what I'm saying, different world over there. But I enjoyed the people were very nice, best customer service I've ever experienced. I enjoyed the food was fire. Authentic Chinese food, boy, man, game changing, and it's healthy for you. So I lost a lot of weight while I was out there. I enjoyed teaching. That, you know what I'm saying? I was teaching kids as young as 3 years old all the way up to 14. So I was mainly working with the elementary school age. So I'm working with the babies. So all we're doing is just playing games. And I was 23 at the time, and I'm 26 now. But, you know what I'm saying, just being able to match some kids' energy, you know what I'm saying? Being a former competitor, all my games were just competition based, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna compete. We're gonna see who's agile, as well as, you know what I'm saying, smart mentally. You know, I'm gonna take these cards out on the line. We're gonna race. So it's about 5 cards in the line, 5 flash cards in the line. You got to run to the first card, touch the line, elicit what that card is, right to the start, then straight to the next card, illicit, you know what I'm saying, just like suicide, and see who's gonna be the fastest and who's gonna be, you know what I'm saying, just making it fun. So I enjoy teaching for sure. And meeting other foreigners, exploring Beijing. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. This is a whole completely different realm than I'm in currently. So no matter what we do, it's going to be an adventure. I'm talking about the smallest thing you think of as far as going to the bank to deposit money, withdraw money, going to the grocery store. Like the most simplest task you can think in your everyday life is going to be a completely different experience and a place where nobody looks like you. The culture and standard is nothing like what you're used to, and you can't communicate with these people fully. Like it's a whole different experience. But all in all, I enjoyed every minute of it. And then things took a turn. You know what I'm saying? On April 4th, 2019, I was arrested for cannabis and served 14 days in a Chinese penitentiary. I was locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 people one night, 15 people in one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 meals a day, some form of soup every meal. And all I had was a Tupperware bowl and a plastic spoon for 14 days straight. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had no toiletries to take care of my hygiene. I didn't know how this process worked, nothing, because that wasn't explained to me. Nobody knew I was locked up. So, and I didn't know what was going on. So I'm just here to tell you I did 14 days. So that's what made the story what it is. Because you start to read the book, and this very first day, like when shit hits the fan, and now we getting arrested, and you know what I'm saying, from there on is just the whole incarceration process. But after I was released, deported from the country immediately, came back to America, continued to teach, started coaching football, high school football, and started writing 14 Days in Beijing. And just from there, I've written 2 more novels. I'm also now coaching aspiring authors through the publication process, as well as coaching at-risk teens through this nonprofit that I'm partnered with. You know what I'm saying? Just teaching them life skills, how to better themselves, just based on their circumstance or whatever experience they may have endured to put them in the position that they're in. You know what I'm saying? And with my book being, you know what I'm saying, so much common to what most people do here or might get caught up with doing here in America, you know what I'm saying, it was definitely easy to grasp, easy to read and relate to, you know what I'm saying, working with the teens. But yeah, man, now I'm just a jack of all trades. I got a bunch of different stuff going on, putting in the groundwork and laying that foundation for all these endeavors, and just waiting for them to start to, you know what I'm saying, just continue to build and seeing where it goes once it's all said and done.
Okay, cool. So where does it begin? It's a lot. So I would probably ask is, what was your feelings towards traveling before and after the experience? Has it changed?
So when I was locked up, I was just like, I knew this chapter was probably over with as far as China per se, but just being just gaining this experience, especially living in a different country. I'm like, bro, especially China at that, a communist country. I'm like, oh yeah, it ain't no place I can go. You know what I'm saying? It won't be able to work my one and, you know what I'm saying, get the full experience as well as, you know what I'm saying, just be adaptable. And then I'm from Atlanta. That's all. You got to be a chameleon out here. You got to be able to adapt to your scenario and situations and everywhere. The people around you, energy, all of that. So definitely I was hungry to go back overseas again. And I was supposed to once I got like a year after I got back, but then COVID popped off and canceled all of that. So I ain't left this country since I've been back. You know, and then, you know what I'm saying, with COVID coming in, you got to be vaccinated. You know what I'm saying, the vaccines and all that slowed everything up. So yeah, I've been in the States since then. But definitely itching to get back across the seas for sure.
That's interesting because I bet a lot of people would be like, you know what, never again. Just like this is it.
And quoting Nipsey Hussle the Great, never let a hard time humble us. For sure.
Makes sense. So, I guess we go through your story. So, with like competing and everything, how did once football stopped, how did you feel?
It was just a rude awakening as far as just I identified as a football player, as a student athlete for a good portion of my life, and I embodied it to the fullest. So now that was no longer the case, all right, Chancellor, who are you? What do you like? What do you enjoy? What do you want out of life? What's your purpose? I couldn't answer any of these questions. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I need to start somewhere. And I just started applying for jobs at that point because I'm like, I really don't know what I want to do. I just know I got good communicative skills and I'm a hard worker, disciplined, coachable. You know what I'm saying? I'm a student athlete. So I have one great skill that I know I can thrive in, and everything else I'm coach. I can learn. So whoever's willing to bet on me and put their money towards me, hey man, I'm gonna be indebted to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you everything I got. So I started applying for jobs, and you know what I'm saying. Mainly, at first I was applying for straight corporate positions, sales, marketing, management, and after 8 months of applying, landing interviews, I'm talking about I'm getting flown out, put up in hotels, the whole nine. After 8 months of just going through this process and not landing anything, and the same BS reason they kept giving me, oh, you like the experience, But it's like, I knew that when I submitted my resume. So it's just, but anyway, I was like, I need to take a different approach as far as job search. And that's when I started to look towards just social work in general, and decided to look internationally as well. Because I'm like, why am I coming, you know what I'm saying, just boxing myself in, just trying to search domestically. And I'm searching all across the nation. But then I'm like, bro, the world is big, bro. Like, it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Now, opportunities, you know what I'm saying, are like no other now that we consider in the whole globe. And as soon as I made that transition or that switch, boom, I landed something. So, and it took everything that transpired up until this point for me to be able to answer all those questions that I couldn't answer before. Once football, you know what I'm saying, came to an end. So, you know what I'm saying, just finding myself, really.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I'm 24 right now, so I'm just trying to figure out who I am after school.
I mean, it's a journey, boy. Hey, it's a journey. That shit ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen overnight. Like Nipsey said, bro. Nipsey said it best, bro. It's like long-winded, running through this life like it was mine. Never settling, but setting every goal high. 1,000 burpees on the path to my own self-destruction or success. But what's a mistake without the lesson? You see, the best teacher in life is your own experience. None of us know who we are until we fail. And they say every man is defined by his reaction to any given situation. So who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself? Whatever you choose to do, hey man, give your heart to it. Stay strong. And stay strong. R.I.P. Nipsey.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And so like with teaching, was like a natural fit for you when you first started, or did you have to get used to it?
It was natural, but I also had to get used to it at the same time. Natural in the sense of me playing football and being one of the leaders on the football team, the vocal leader. You know what I'm saying? Folks always say I was a preacher, or, you know what I'm saying, uncle, or, you know what I'm saying, grandpa. I got one of them nicknames. So I was always very, just, you know what I'm saying, a verbal leader. So just being able to get people's ears and deliver what needed to be heard or received from the recipients, as well as just, you know what I'm saying, being very passionate and setting the example, you know what I'm saying, just setting the example in every facet. So once it came to teaching, I'm like, all right, I slick already been doing this, but now it's just from a whole different, you know what I'm saying? It's from a curriculum perspective of now I got to really like, you know what I'm saying, manage a classroom and I got to come up with the lesson plans. I got to, you know what I'm saying, make sure I'm explaining this correctly and everybody's able to receive it and understand it and work with those that don't understand it initially and just find ways to help them understand it. And versus just being a student athlete now, I just got to show up to class. I really ain't got the. I was always a great student. I always had a great GPA, but regular school wasn't hard to do. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't hard to do. All you really got to do is show up. That's half of it right there. But just going from student athlete to now I'm leading the classroom. Right, that was a lot of unlearning and relearning I had to do. But all in all, you know what I'm saying, I just had to work my one with it, you know what I'm saying, so I can definitely build a rapport with the children, first and foremost, you know what I'm saying, it's young spirits, for real. But yeah, teaching it was a pretty solid fit. I've definitely gained a lot from it thus far. But I don't see myself doing it for long. Nah.
I can see that.
Yeah. It's very time consuming and teachers are underpaid and you know what I'm saying? It was a stepping stone. I don't feel like it's truly my purpose. You know what I'm saying? At least teaching curriculum, you know what I'm saying? Systemized curriculum at that. So yeah, and that's a whole nother topic. So
yeah, like teaching, it probably like it gave you skills that you needed, and then you can use those for the next step.
Mm-hmm. Without same as coaching. Coaching and teaching is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just two different realms. One strictly academic, the other one is sports. You know what I'm saying? But with sports, the lessons you learn in sports, you can apply to everyday life for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like that's where I really thrive in, you know what I'm saying? Just teaching life, you know what I'm saying? Because the school shit, it is what it is. It's a lot of people out here thriving that ain't do an ounce of school for real. And it's some people that, you know what I'm saying, have taken this education very far and it's putting them in positions that they couldn't never have fathomed. So it really just got to it's really just you got to learn you and know you to a T. And once you learn you, then it'll be easier to navigate and go about finding or pursuing any endeavor. You know what I'm saying? Because you have an understanding of who you are and what you like to do, what you don't like to do, and all of that. So it'll make that process a whole lot smoother. Finding, you know what I'm saying, what works for you and your purpose, all in all.
Yeah. Just had a thought, lost the thought. But I was thinking of another question. I was like, it's gonna be a good one. But so me, I personally haven't traveled yet. My friend been trying to get me out to go travel, like teach like you did. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about that?
Shit, do it. You know what I'm saying? You have nothing holding you back. Like you ain't got no, really, bro. You ain't got no kids, no wife. You know what I'm saying? You really ain't got no other career. Or you sick of that, but you ain't got nothing holding you back, bro. Then it's like, what are you waiting for? What was holding you back then? You. That's the only thing holding you back at that point. Whatever fear you have of just something that's just so drastically different versus the matrix you're so accustomed to. You know what I'm saying? It's all a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. But if it makes you uncomfortable, then it's probably good for you. I think that's the saying right there, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, just do it for sure. You know what I'm saying? Do your research and figure out, you know what I'm saying, where would be you know what I'm saying, the ideal place for you, and then shit, just work your one after that point. For sure. I definitely I highly recommend everybody live abroad. You ain't got to live abroad long. I got 6 months in China. I got a full experience. It ain't got to be long now. You definitely just don't want to go to a whole nother world and be there for 5 days or something. You're not going to gain a full experience. And you know what I'm saying? That short amount of time. It's going to take you a couple of days, if that, just to get adjusted to the time zone and jet lag and all of that. So yeah, you definitely want to have some time to truly immerse into the, you know what I'm saying, this new world that you're entering, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself and just life in general. Everywhere we go, Where you from, my brother?
Brooklyn, New York.
And you're located in New York still?
Yeah.
All right, so from Georgia to New York, two completely different places, drastically in every. But the only commonality that we have is that we speak English, and even then, with Ebonics, that it can fluctuate. You know what I'm saying? So we talking about and we still on the east side of America. You know what I'm saying? You just north, I'm south, and just how drastically different these two places are, and everything in between at that. So now we talking one sector of the world versus a whole completely different sector of the world, and everything in between, how drastically shit can be within that distance. So it's like no matter where you go in this world, you know what I'm saying, life will be different in some form or fashion. It will be different everywhere you go. And with that being said, who's to say what is the right and wrong way of living this so-called life when everywhere you go, people go about shit differently, people believe different shit, goddamn morals are completely different, religions, like it's different worlds everywhere you go, all within one sector, one continent, or it's completely different continents. It's different. So it's just like, how can you know what I'm saying, one say there's a right and wrong way about going, living this life? You can't. So that's why traveling is so important, because you learn that just from exposing yourself to just different shit. You grew up in one sector of the world, and that's all you know is that sector of the world. That's all you know. That's very small-minded, and it isn't your fault. It is, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking in general. You know what I'm saying? That's all you know, because that's all you've been exposed to. So yeah, traveling is important. It's vital. You got to, because life is different everywhere you go. So it's all enlightening. It's all enlightening for sure.
Nice. And why did you choose to write about your experience?
I knew I wanted to do something with the story. I just didn't know what at first. And it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I've been back home for a couple months now. And one of my partners, my good friends, he was a published author before we graduated high school in 2014. He was like, damn, bro, you should write a book about the experience. I'm like, damn, that's a good ass idea. Like, that is a good idea. Where do I start? I have no clue. But he just he went, grabbed my phone, went to my notes section, gave me like a 5-layer outline, and I just started filling in the outline. Because I'm telling y'all a true story. So outline was very brief, like opening scene, following scene, climax, you know what I'm saying? Like very simple like that. So I just started filling it in. And then once I realized, okay, I'm really writing, I moved it from my notes to a Google Doc so I could type it on the computer. And 4 months later, the whole story was written. And then the next 6 months was just perfecting it and getting it ready to publish. And then publishing was a breeze, because self-publishing is man, it's the move now. You know what I'm saying? And Amazon and plenty of other Barnes and Nobles. There's a lot of different platforms and programs that have given the power back to the author as far as just getting your books on. You know what I'm saying? Just getting them published versus going the traditional way. And you got all these people dictating how they want your shit to be, when they want your shit to be released. And by the time you do all of that, they've taken away so much from just your true form of expressing whatever it was, that you can no longer really identify with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't put their hands on it so much, like it's not even what just, and you hear it in music industry, the film industry, is, you know what I'm saying, the same type of time. So I just took it and ran with it, and I got locked up on April 4th, 2019. So on April 4th, 2020, the anniversary date, a year later, after everything popped off, I had my book set to release on that the following year, April 4th, 2020. And before it even released, I was still on pre-sale. I was ranked #1 new bestseller in 3 different genres for the shit show.
Nice.
Oh man.
And when you was writing it, did you was it like too surreal for you? Like, what was your emotion, or like what did you feel when you was writing it?
Just being able to, I was really surprised that I was able to retain as much of that detail that I did. like as far as the conversations, what's happening every single moment. And just being able to, I went through this whole experience with just a plastic bowl and a plastic spoon. Nothing to write with, nothing to, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Nothing. So for me to be released 2 weeks later and then be in America additional 2 months, and I ain't start writing the book till July, but being able to retain all, like, just, I remembered everything for the most part vividly, vividly, and just able to just paint this whole picture for the reader. That just threw my sight. You know what I'm saying? That threw my sight. I was thoroughly surprised at that. Like, I can't even believe that I was able to remember that much detail. You know what I'm saying? For sure. I'm talking about conversations word for word, and there's a lot of conversations within that story. So it was extremely powerful. And then also, I received a lot of signs and messages from the universe, my ancestors, the higher powers, in regards to how my situation was going to play out. Because I didn't receive any information in regards to how this shit was going to play out. But I didn't receive any verbal information as far as the police and all of that, and in regards to how my situation was going to work out. But the universe sent me plenty of signs. And it wasn't until I started writing the book, and I was going to say editing, and I'm like, wow, okay, this one sign, man, this another sign. Oh, this is like, whoa, boy, I was tapped in, but I ain't, you know what I'm saying? That was another shocking piece. But all in all, it was very therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? I was just able to release everything. I felt relief after writing it, and, you know what I'm saying, especially publishing and putting it out to the universe and seeing what it did and how it's done thus far. It was just remarkable and just a great form of therapy, all in all. Turning a tragedy into a triumph.
Yeah. And a lot of people won't be able to come back for that, but you did.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, man. What? Yeah. About anybody else, that situation, right, circumstance would have folded them, for sure. Folded them, for sure. And when you read it, it's like, I'm so calm, I'm so collected, I'm just in the moment. You know what I mean? I'm not really scared, I'm not worried. I don't know what's happening. Just like y'all don't know what's happening, but we're going to find out together. So that's like, we're going to find out together, for sure. I just know I'm going to be good when it's all said and done.
Nice. And then you say you published 2 more books, right?
Yep. And they're romance novels, both of them. But all in all, this 3 books is one long series. So when you read 14 Days, I talk about a girlfriend that I had at the time. I speak of her fondly throughout the book, but don't have no communication with her. So a lot of women that was reading 14 Days, they were like, okay, you talk about this girlfriend a lot. At least, you know what I'm saying, you bring her up a lot, but you don't talk about her, and then you get released, and that's just the end of the story. So how that play out, we want to know about that. Woo, woo, woo. So that's where You Love, You Learn comes into play. That's the second book, and it's pretty much the story of how me and her met, and it's the very first year of our relationship. And then the second book, Real Love Never Dies, takes place after I graduate, go to China. So it's touching on things that happened before, you know what I'm saying, getting locked up. Because when you read 14 Days, it's just very first chapter, it's very first day, the shit popped off, and everything that happened after that. And then once I'm released, that's it. So with the third book, Real Love Never Dies, you get a little bit of an experience of what I was on before getting locked up in China. And then once I got back to America, what happened and how did that whole process work as far as the relationship and all of that other stuff. But yeah, it's just all one long series, telling one long story. But completely different genres. For sure.
That one story turns into more stories. Everybody wants to know more.
On me, for sure. And all I'm doing is just telling y'all some shit that really happened. So it's like, anybody can do this, bro. Like, anybody can do this. You know what I'm saying? Just telling somebody a story, however you would tell them, naturally in your own tongue, bro.
Yep.
For sure.
And I'm guessing those were like similar experience writing the later books.
Yeah, they're all real life. All my books are real life experience. I've been dabbled in fiction. Just the only thing fictitious about my books is me switching up people's names. That's the only fictitious part. Everything else is verbatim. Verbatim.
And then I know people are gonna bring up like the Brittany Griner situation or the Lamella Ball situation.
On me. On me. It also could bring up DJ Esco
Yeah,
situation and somebody else I'm forgetting.
Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah, it's a bunch of people. Little baby in them, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a bunch of people you can bring up. Yeah.
Somebody was it ASAP Rocky in Sweden?
Yeah, ASAP Rocky. Yep, that's the other one. Yeah, it's quite a few people you can bring up. You know what I'm saying? I was, and a lot of it really, and that's just the famous people that we're bringing up. You know what I'm saying? Whose situations have been similar, but far as people that don't nobody know that have similar situations, oh, but that number just it's high. It's been, man, hundreds of people, probably thousands up until this point that's experienced the same thing I've experienced. Now, what do they do with that story and that experience is solely up to them. Some people like to suppress it or act like it never even happened. Some people share it, and how they go about sharing it is, you know what I'm saying, varies. But yeah, just bringing up all those other individuals, especially Brittany Griner. I was like, man, I love for her to write a book. You know what I'm saying? Definitely love to help her through the process of writing it and publishing it, because it's like, man, we've heard about her story in the news, but we haven't heard her side of the story. We hear what Russia got to say and what the lawyers here got to say. But as far as the individual, you know what I'm saying, her, like, what was her mind, you know what I'm saying, where was she at with everything pop? How did everything pop off, you know what I'm saying, specifically from her perspective? And how was this whole ordeal from your lens? I feel like that would be a great, great story. Whenever, you know what I'm saying, she finally gets to tell it. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause she got a great amount of time. Hopefully people still remember her. You know what I'm saying? Whenever that situation ends or how that ever plays out. But I'd love for her to write a book about it. That'll be dope. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else, I feel like, did interviews and just told their stories in the interview, which I felt was foolish. Like, you just gave the whole story away for, you know what I'm saying, for free, brother. Like, you tripping.
Yeah. And also people who come to the States and have the situation happen to them and that.
That part. And they don't tell them what, you know what I'm saying, how it is, you know what I'm saying, for even a couple years ago when Trump was in office and they locked up all those Mexicans and the kids and had them in concentration camps, like, on that type of time. On that same type of time, for real. You know what I'm saying? Imagine them people being able to tell all their stories, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there is a documentary or something on it, you know what I'm saying, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it happens here too.
Just gotta hope for the best.
Hey man, it's like Nipsey said, man. 1,000 birds on my own path to self-destruction or success. But what's a mistake without the lesson? You know what I'm saying? And based on how the situation plays out, okay, how you define yourself after the situation? Will you let the situation define you, or will you define yourself? How are you gonna, you know what I'm saying, move forward and not let this discourage you or not let this circumstance belittle you? You know what I'm saying? Empower you, if anything.
Yeah.
Empower you, if anything, for sure. Never let no hard time humble us. Just double up.
And since you say you didn't have any communications with anybody, when people found out what happened, what was their immediate reaction?
Just like anybody, I tell, like, I'm meeting for the very first time, and I'm just telling them, you know what I'm saying? We asking questions. I'm telling them, oh, yeah, I got life up abroad in China. It was just, that's what really, I'm like, okay, I got to do some of the story. Because once I got back to America, of course, I was supposed to do a year. That's how long my contract was said, but I only did 6 months because of me, you know what I'm saying, getting locked up. So, really even know they still come back a year that fast. I can't believe it. Woo. Like they didn't really even know it's been a year. It has only been 6 months up until that point. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even clicked in their brain. Like I just been in China. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling them I'm back, whoop, 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 and I'm telling them what happened, and I'm getting the same reaction, like eyes widen, like body language changing, like like a deep sense of just concern from just probably like where I may be mentally and emotionally, spiritually after a situation like that. And it's a lot to swallow. So it's a big pill to swallow, especially in a communist country like China. You know what I mean? So, but just telling the story verbally to friends and family, I was like, okay. Just seeing their reaction, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a fire story. I'm like, it's gonna be a fire. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I'm like, it's gonna be a great story. I knew that when I was in the handcuffs and sitting in the first precinct. And I was sitting there I'm still high as hell, contemplating, reflecting. I'm like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Nobody knows this is happening to me. But I know I'm gonna be good when it's all said and done. I said, take note of every minor detail because it's going to be a great story to tell once you're out of this predicament. And most importantly, enjoy this high one last time because we don't know what the fuck gonna happen, boy. So them the words I said to myself, you know what I'm saying, right before I was fully processed into a facility. And shit, I just manifested it from the very beginning, honestly. I manifested from the very beginning.
I know my mom would be like, see, this is why I told you not to go overseas. This is why I told you to stay in the States.
I mean, everything would have been peaches and cream if I would have just, you know what I'm saying, been doing what I was supposed to be doing. So the fact that shit hit the fan, I can't point the finger at nobody else but myself. I had to hold myself accountable. So, you know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like my process, even though it was ugly, I ended up doing the shortest amount of time out of most of the people I was locked up with. So it still played out in my favor, even though I just didn't know. But, you know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like everything played out the way that it did, and it was in my favor. You know what I'm saying? Shit didn't follow it. If I didn't write this book, nobody even known this shit had happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Just because I was accountable. And a lot of people lack accountability, but that was a trait I learned from playing football. For sure.
And I was just thinking about how in the earlier season of the podcast, I had somebody as a guest who's a teacher in South Korea in a similar situation you are, but he had like a totally different experience. And like it's going well, and then you have your life-changing experience and how different things can be.
Oh man. Yeah, I heard South Korea lit too. I love to visit South Korea. I will visit South Korea. There's a lot of more countries in Asia I got to tap in with. It's a vibe out there. There's a vibe in Asia, and it's extremely. China has the strongest currency in Asia, and $1 to Chinese currency is like $6.5, $7. So if they got the strongest currency and $1 can get you $6 to $7 of their dollars, everybody else gonna be. Boy, hey, I'm telling you, Asia, hey, tap in. Exactly. Wow, boy, you be a whole completely different person over there.
Definitely. So, do you have anything? Any other questions? Do you have any questions? Do you want to ask?
Hey, man, just yeah, I got a question, and it's to the audience, and so with that being said, y'all just gonna have to reflect on it. But just based off of where you are right now in your particular journey and with everything that you're doing, are you chasing a dream or are you fulfilling your purpose? And I'm just gonna leave you with that.
Give it a moment. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Are you chasing a dream or are you fulfilling your purpose?
But sometimes people are just running.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Some people got to figure it out and they building off of it. Excuse me. Some people figure it out, building off of it, working towards you know what I'm saying, whatever that is. Some people have somewhat of an idea or they're gaining an idea in the process of that, and it's just some people that are just completely lost in the sauce. For sure. You know what I'm saying? And they might get to that next step of figuring out or finding their purpose, or they might not. You know what I'm saying? It can go either way. But yeah, that's why I feel like a lot of, you know what I'm saying, where most of us are at, for sure.
Yeah.
And but like Nipsey said, bro, it's a marathon, bro. It took Nipsey 10 years to accomplish all that he had accomplished and get to where he was at. It took him 10 years. So, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't already been working, boy, I say get to working. Get to working for sure. For sure, it's going to be a marathon. And you're going to battle every emotion. Every emotion. And only distinguishing quality between whoever else is going through it, already went through it, or is finna go through it, is that you're not going to quit. That's the only distinguishing quality. That you're not going to quit. You're going to take the stand that you're willing to die behind, but you're getting after right now. That's in quotes of Nipsey Hussle. And in quotes of Will Smith, it's no point of, I know who I am, I know what I believe. And that's all I need to know. And from that point on, the universe will get out of your way. Sometimes there's no point in having a plan B because it takes away from plan A. So I didn't shower two different quotes from two different people. Two different people. But it can be applied at many, many facets. For sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see you being a leader on your team. I feel a presence from you. Like we're about the same age. I'm just like, I got to follow this guy. He knows what he's doing.
I mean, appreciate it. Yeah. I was always hitting quotes, Vogue. Yeah, that was that. Yeah, for sure. And I still, you know what I'm saying? I'm still that. So it's just like Nipsey was doing, just hustling to motivate you. So that's what the type of time I see myself on. Running my individual journey, going through my ups and downs. But, you know what I'm saying, steady, setting every goal high, steady being resilient and working towards accomplishing whatever it is I set out to do. And once I do accomplish it, you know what I'm saying, just motivating other people to do the same thing and know that they can do it too.
And do the people the children or like the people you work with now, do they see you in the same light?
Oh man, yeah. And they might not express it, you know what I'm saying, verbally, but just through energy and really energy for sure. I know the impact I have. So yeah, you ain't even really got to speak on it. You ain't even got to. I can just tell. Energy is everything. I can just feel the energy. And some do speak on it, you know what I'm saying? They express it. And all in all, shit, whether they do express it or they don't, you know what I mean? That's not going to deter me or stop me from being me. For sure. I'm going to continue to pour into people and continue to, like I said, just hustle and motivate. That's it, man.
Nice. So, if you had, go to the last couple of questions. So, if you was to have an origin story, what would it be? So, it could either be the story you told earlier or be a completely different story, made up story.
Just all in all, another quote, and Nipsey Hussle the Great, by Nipsey Hussle the Great, it's find your purpose or you wasting air.
Yeah.
Find your purpose or you wasting air, man. A lot of people out here existing but not really living.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Just learn yourself to a T. And once you learn yourself to a T, man, everything else is going to be easy, bro. That's it. You got to learn yourself, understand who you are. And if it's some healing you need to do, definitely, you know what I'm saying, work towards trying to do that. But, you know what I'm saying, that's like easier said than done, for sure. But, yeah. I say that's about it, man.
Everybody dies, but everybody lives.
I'm telling you. Well, a lot of people out here just existing, going through the motions.
And last two is, how would you represent it? Would you make another book about your story? Would you make a movie, TV show? And
I will. Yeah. I definitely will continue to write. more stories. I got to experience more things. So I give y'all something to read. Or at least have stories to tell. But right now, just coaching other people, or at least aspiring authors, through the whole publishing process. You know what I'm saying? Guiding them through it, and really that's where I'm at right now. Just helping others through the process that are, you know what I'm saying, that want to publish their own writing. And yeah, that's really just where I'm at right now, man. For real. Helping others through the process. And I got a couple people that, you know what I'm saying, I'm working with, and it's some fire material, no cap. There's some heat, like some deep shit too. So I'm excited to see, you know what I'm saying, how they do on the market, without a doubt. And just being able to say, you know what I'm saying, have my name tied to it at the end of the day. And building my brand, Corley Publications, you know what I'm saying, my publishing company and all of that, you know what I'm saying? So
Got it. Yeah, I feel the life experience in you. I feel it. I'm like, I got nothing on this guy.
And I would love to turn all the stories I've published already, books I published, I'll turn them into films, TV show series, or shit, animes. I think animes would be fucking dope, especially when it's taking place in Asia. I think that'd be hard. And how many, you know what I'm saying, how many black people you know with animes? You know what I'm saying? So just tapping it. I like doing shit that people aren't doing or not thinking about doing. So I feel like that'll be hard as well. So yeah, man, just got audio books as well. I'm already rolling out the audio book for 14 days. It's all, and I'm dropping it chapter by chapter on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and see what I'm saying, stuff like that. But really, it's just, I feel like the animations will be harder, or just the visuals will be even harder, just cause. But you know what I'm saying, step by step. You know what I'm saying, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. The marathon continues too.
Wow, thank you for joining the podcast. And where can people find you and the book?
Sure. I appreciate y'all and you for having me on and listening to me. Just Google me, Chancellor K. Jackson. Google 14 Days of Beijing. You'll be able to find everything you need, from social media to the books itself. My books on Amazon. I also have a website, chancellorkjackson.com. You can order your books from. You can also book, if you're any aspiring authors out there that want to get into the publishing game or want to learn how to start going about publishing the book, reach out to me through my website. I have services listed on there that you can purchase as well. So yeah, just, you know what I'm saying, Google me. Y'all be able to find me.
I think it's that level. Be like, Google me. That's it.
I'm telling you. Hey, it's been a marathon up to this point though. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I can just, you know what I'm saying, just Google me and you'll be able to find everything you know, you need to know. Shit, man. But still got a lot of work to do at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
That brings another episode of the Let's Gather podcast to a close. Again, you can find more information about Chancellor Jackson by clicking the link in the description below. For next week, I have my friend Hot Rod 1701 to speak about streaming. Hope you're doing that day, and I hope to see you there.